All right, slot car fans and home racing world, we are going to unbox the Slot.it CW17 Le Mans Winners Collection, the 2013 Le Mans winner. Christmas was good. I have, of course, already opened it. I took the liberty of doing one thing. I took off the slotted rubber, and I have placed Quick Slicks CB34. Ironically, this is a four-wheel drive car that we'll get into. So CB34s all around. That'll be nice for a little test run. See the nice box that is done from Slot.it with all the Le Mans Winners collection. Under here, we would expect to find all of the goodies that come with it, some extra parts, some of the extra discs and other gearing that we'll get into that is on the wheels for the four-wheel drive system. Typically, we've got a couple of other pieces in here, some backup washers. We've also got a 0.9, and of course the Le Mans Winners Collection limited edition that will show you what numerical value. So this is 1,798 out of 2,208 produced. Wonderful stuff there. So let's get into the car a little bit. All right, beautiful car. The Audi R18 is probably my favorite of the modern LMPs. Beautiful tampo job here. Would expect nothing less from Slot.it. Just a fantastic job on the details. The rear of the car, the diffuser, the tail lights that are vertical. Front of the car, just a beautiful, beautiful line if you're into the LMPs, which I am very much. Nice spokes all around. So let's take a look. Angle winder. The flat 6 here comes with 1128 stock. The LMP guide. Some stiff braids, but we'll replace all that. You'll notice here the four-wheel drive system. You've got an extra gear in the rear in between the spur and the wheel. Similarly up front, there's a disc blocking. That same disc actually is blocking on the other side of the spur to not let the belt contact the spur. But there's also a disc and then another small gear around the wheel in both the front and the back. Ironically, up front, you have a circumstance where the wheel can spin freely, but it can't spin backwards. It's a little bit of a clutch inside of there so that it can only go forward when the actual travel is taking place from the rear to the front. We'll get into that in a little bit. So let's go ahead from now and get inside of this car. Let's move our box out of the way. I fully expect this screw to snap into the magnet here in just a moment, and I'll have to get it loose if it goes. Oh, look at that. Nice. Didn't have to worry about that. Let's set those aside and let's put this down on our setup block and take a look. So it's not necessarily a lightweight interior, but it's a very small interior. Individual components on here. Doors, windows, some aero even left behind on the chassis. But well done overall. Segmented to a degree, but should do fine if it gets hit. Got some nice light work in here as well, where they've been plastic soldered in place. But overall, a great looking body. Really, really great looking body. It captures all the details. I don't think there's anything that they missed on this car. I'm sure the full license was paid, particularly since this is a Le Mans Winners Collection. You can see the P1 standing for Le Mans Prototype First Class, obviously, highest class. You've got all of your classic sponsorship on there, your Audi, you've got Bosch, Mahle. My mother and father, I think, when I was a child, bought a Mahle vacuum cleaner, M-A-H-L-E, fantastic vacuum cleaners, probably still to this day. In any event, wonderful looking body. Just again, my favorite LMP look. Set that aside and let's take a look at what we have here. So the classic box style LMP chassis, the flat 6, 1128. The diffuser in the back, the diffuser in the front, which is obviously part of the front bumper. And then we've got this LMP guide system that, you know, it's unique to the Slot.it cars for the LMP because the guide is so close to the front and underneath that it's just the way they chose to design it. I will be changing this out. I will be doing something unique here. I haven't quite decided. I haven't looked at all my options, but that's not going to be what I want from a high performance standpoint. I believe we have a 0.5 millimeter offset angle winder pod here. And then let's talk a little bit about the four-wheel drive system, both in the front and in the rear. You know, I think we have a situation where it's done as nicely as it can from a simple engineering standpoint, but obviously you're going to create friction when you have this belt drive system. So I don't know if anybody really is making plans to run four-wheel drive, has plans for four-wheel drive classes in a lot of what they do, but it's a nice little feature that they incorporated. You can put it into any car, if I understand correctly, depending on as long as it's probably, well, angle winder. As you can see, part of the detail here is there's a mount on the inside edge of the angle winder that is a rail here that has 3 points of contact for the belt to slip underneath. And then, as I mentioned before, there's a disc just to the outside of the spur, but before we make contact with the wheel. And on that wheel, there are two very small gears that essentially stay put because the grub screw that goes into both wheels is missing the gear is missing a tooth, and so the grub screw that obviously does not go all the way into the wheel sticks up just enough so that it catches that gear that is inside the spur gear, obviously again running the belt drive. And then on the front we have that clutch, so it's a clutched gear, so the wheel can free spin, but then it can't go backwards, and so there's a clutched version of that same gear right there. Very, very nice, simple engineering, but overall, you know, a good-looking car. I'll be disengaging all of this and turning it into, turning it into a two-wheel drive LMP. So overall, a nice, clean look to the car. So let's see, did I miss anything here? I think it's 93 millimeters on the wheelbase, 150 millimeters from front to back. I believe stock, this is an 86 gram car with the top, obviously. It can be digitally converted, obviously, for Slot.it. I'm going to run it analog, and I'm probably going to give it a go. Angle winder. I know a lot of folks live and die by the angle winder or even convert to sidewinder, but I've had quite a bit of success in my Slot.it cars, believe it or not, running in line, and I like to turn that into quite the high gear ratio in the 2.6s, 2.5s sometimes on the War Eagle River track at Hobbit Racing Park. So without further ado, let's put the lid back on and see what this thing does in the track with CB34Fs in the front and in the back. And we're back, folks. We're back at Hobbit Racing Park for part 2 of our brand new Le Mans Prototype CW17 Audi R18 Le Mans winner from 2013. And I do not expect, overall great performance, but out of the box, most Slot.it cars are very, very well handling. But we don't have any magnet traction here, obviously. We have that LMP guide. It's not a deep wood guide either, and it's fairly loose with some stiff braid. But again, I have CB34Fs on the front and the back just to give it a go, to show everybody that this four-wheel drive system, is viable We really probably won't go much, much into that with any kind of depth, but I'm going to basically assume that that four-wheel drive system is going to create an awful lot of friction, so I'm going to pretty much turn the brake off, and we can give it a go. There's a good bit of friction, even to the point where I need some pickup even with the sensitivity from an acceleration profile. So I'll tell you what, I'll just give everybody the full go, and I'll turn the sensitivity all the way up so I get immediate electrical action, and have the brake virtually all the way off. As you can see, there's still a lot of friction. Let's see what we have going on here. And there you go, there's your first D-slot. Likely cause because of the non-deep wood guide, as well as brakes. But overall, you know, I'm feeling a little bit of the niceness from the four-wheel drive, almost pulling it through those corners. Spoke too soon. I don't know if I'm going to even get this car in the blue lane in the 5s. I believe LMP profile in the blue lane should probably be for a competitive car. Oh, I think somewhere about in the 5.5. So we're running 6 flats. That's no weight, no deep wood guide, and that extra friction. So there you have it. There's a decent bit of traction that way. Overall, I'm not going to keep this car in this four-wheel drive format, but out of the box, again, you know, whatever tire of choice that you run on your track, you know, if you're running rubber, if you're running on your Ninko or Polycar track, or your Carrera track, or if you've got a wood track and you run urethane, or you run rubber, you know, you're going to get, you know, or silicone, you're going to get a decent fun little car for the four-wheel drive activity that it provides for you. I will give everybody an update on this particular car, since I believe this is the first one that I've done an unboxing, and I'll do a tune as well on this car, where I hope to tune it up as well as I've tuned some of my other model's prototype, which ironically is the same exact model 2 years earlier, R18, the turbo diesel, the NSR version of this. So looks almost identical in body shape with a few different features, but we will give it a go. And until then, comment, like, subscribe, and share. How to Racing Park.